Well, welcome everybody to the Daily AI Show. It is Thursday, the 5th of October, 2023. And today we are talking about the multimodal revolution shaping AI's future. We don't have Brian with us today, and I don't think Robert's going to be joining us, unfortunately, but you got all five of us, and we're all wonderful people. So let's get dug in, guys. And we did talk a little bit yesterday about multimodal in terms of what's happening with ChatGPT and voice and vision. And I know Carl's just been talking offline with us a little bit about Google Gemini, but who wants to start the show and tell us a little bit more about their thoughts on the subject?
Well, I'd love to get a classic Andy Halliday definition of multimodal for our audience.
I guess I'm the explainer. I'm the explainer. So yeah, that reminds me that my children said often to me, "Dad, don't explain it all out." So it's just my nature to try to explain it. So multimodal just means that we're freed from the limitation of just being text interactive with AI. So, numbers and text have always been, so characters have been available to interact with AI. That's two different modes, numerical and character text. And then now multimodal means it's going to have images, video, sound of all types, not just voice, but the combination of sound reception, because you could analyze bird sounds if you want to now with ChatGPT.
You're reading my mind. I was thinking exactly that. I can tell.
There you go. So multimodal, the import of multimodal is it simplifies our engagement with AI. Now we don't have to limit ourselves to, okay, well, I've got to sit down and try to translate into words everything that I want to have happen. And by the way, it's on the other side of the exchange as well. So a multimodal AI can also deliver back to you sound, images, video, etc. So it's really becoming much more extensive and capable than it was before. Believe it or not, it could do a hell of a lot with just text. But now multimodal is going to make life so much easier for the user.
Gotcha. What have you? First of all of us, who has access to ChatGPT's multimodal capabilities?
I have vision, so I have images. Yeah.
Hey, Rob.
Gotcha. So what experiences have you had so far using it?
Go ahead. No.
I think, to me, we've seen all the ones where people are taking pictures of signs, taking pictures of animal plants. I saw it yesterday when he took a picture of plant. I can just imagine Andy just like going around the neighborhood, just starting taking pictures and asking ChatGPT, "What is this? What is this? Tell me." We've seen people taking pictures of the fridge. What recipe can I do? I think though, if you really go beyond what is, because we're all like fascinated. Hey, can it see this? What is this? It now can. So I've been using it I've been taking pictures of analytics, taking pictures of Salesforce dashboards, taking pictures of HubSpot dashboards. And once I take a picture of them, I make it analyze it. And it's outrageous what I've been doing, like the analysis that it can do. I feel it's better at some things than even advanced data analytics, because I have to upload this stuff. And then sometimes it doesn't read it correctly, or it's like, I have to do some edits, versus I just take a picture and like, even at like miniature font that I can't read, it reads it. And I'm like, this is amazing. So to me, from a business angle, that opens up so many different doors that, I think we're all just going to scratch the surface. But like, yeah, I've been taking pictures of all our like quarterly, weekly reports and asking analysis on it. And I'm just like, wow, I don't know what the workflow I can do with this, but I can't wait till an API allows me to do this on all these different tools. So that's where that's where I've been starting with it.
So speaking of that, what has anybody heard of any products other than ChatGPT releasing their multimodal? I know in the last few months, people have just been talking about waiting for multimodal to come out and what kind of capabilities it has. But is there any competitors out there? Is ChatGPT the first?
Yeah, so Google is supposed to be releasing I don't know if it's Gemini or Gemini, but that's supposed to be out any day now. There's not a huge amount about it out there, so I certainly can't speak to any great level of expertise on it, but the idea was that it was built to be multimodal from day one. Carl probably knows a lot more about it, so maybe he can fill us in on his little industry secrets.
A little tidbit, because chatting with our Google reps and so on. So we've just implemented Google AI search onto our website, and I was reading the documents on AI search, which I feel is going to directly translate to SG, just regular Google search. But it says there, it allows for you to search images on your site, but also use image as the search. And then I asked them about it yesterday, and they're like, oh, it's still in beta, or like we're still trying to move through it, but there's a whole section documentation on like how to do it and how to and it's only available, I think, for like enterprise level, but I could see it. So I'm like, okay, that tells me that it's going to be baked in eventually, whenever that is. So I believe in Google search, you will be able to upload images and search off it. It just, to me, that makes sense.
Right.
You've been able to do that
And
before.
in terms of whether there's, like you asked whether there's competition, that's different than if other things are multimodal, right? Like Bard and Bing are multimodal also, meaning that they can receive visual input. They're visual modal, I guess. They can receive visual input and respond in visual input. But they're not competition, right? This is like so much better. And the other piece, like to what Carl was just saying, what's coming, the true multimodal will be trained as multimodal. This is actually multimodal laid on top of something that was trained with text.
Exactly.
And it's still amazing. I mean, I've had it, I don't know, 3 days, and I don't have time to spend.
Be like Andy, just be walking around our neighborhood.
Well, so I'm not a plant person, but I have some stones that my mother collected, and I know that they're I know they mean something, but I have no idea what they are.
I wanted to quickly share this one product that I came across doing some research. So Reka.ai, a group built by former Google, Badu, and other folks, put together their own multimodal called Yasa One. Not exactly sure what it came out with.
Is that Jar Jar Binks? Yasa?
Yes. Yeah. But what they have here in this introduction is a lot of the same kind of things that we've seen from ChatGPT. Their big selling point seems to be that they're already enterprise focused, so you can build this on your own data, and it's in private review, so you can access their API to try and load this up. But they had some fun stuff like video analytics, or analyzing a video for things, and audio and all of those components. So has anyone heard of this? This was fairly new to me when I was looking over things. So I was just wondering, when this came out, when they announced it, and is this a better implementation? Just wondering.
It has a slightly different focus. Well, OpenAI has made vision and voice available to any user either through their mobile app or on the desktop. They haven't made it available to everybody yet. Let me clarify that quickly. It's only just being released, and it's being released piecemeal. Like I have vision, but not voice. Carl, I think you've got both. Beth, you've got vision too, right? So anyway, it's happening now, but it's not widely available. Let me just hasten to add that. But I think Reka is focused on the enterprise market, and so I don't know that they're going to have a sort of a consumer offering. It'll require that your enterprise, enable Reka on your platforms, and so I think that's a major distinction. But it looks like it's covered all the bases there.
Gotcha. Quick shout out to Brian. Thank you for joining us on the show. So your comment there. We agree. We are simply the best on LinkedIn. So Brian, thanks for joining the audience, and hope to see you every day. All right, go ahead.
This is what Jimmy's talking about. Brian called in sick and is playing hooky from school and then trolling us with support.
Trolling the support, yeah.
So guys, I want to say something quickly about voice. So that's all I have at the moment is voice on my ChatGPT app on my phone. I don't have vision yet. And I'll be honest, I haven't had time to use it much in the last few days, but I'm not quite sure what I expected from it, but I'm still struggling to find the value. So like Brian mentioned the other day in one of our Slack posts that he'd had a 30-minute conversation with, I'm finding I can't go more than about a minute before I accidentally tap something to stop the screen going to sleep, and it stops it. And it's like I'm not getting I don't know if it's just me using it incorrectly or what, but I'm not currently getting what I hoped to be, which was a fluid conversation back and forth between myself and ChatGPT, because that's the ultimate goal. I mean, we're so used to entering information into computer systems using our fingers and our keyboards that the voice conversation where you can actually have a forwards and backwards exchange of information is the gold standard we all want. And I think vision and voice is going to get there. But what's your experience been in playing with voice so far for those of you who actually have it?
Does anyone else have it?
I don't think anyone else in the team
Brian
has it,
has it.
Aaron.
No.
I think you're first.
Okay.
But,
Well,
Brian, I guess, yeah.
Brian has the
Brian,
comment.
if you're on the comments, let us know what you think.
I have to say though, that, I mean, I know I'm skipping backwards, but about multimodal this morning, I literally woke up and I don't know, this is the weirdest thing. You're gonna think I'm weird if you don't already, but we have these weird grubs that every time of year they come out of the woodwork and they're covering our driveway, and we end up having to, it's just really weird. Like, what are these stupid things? And so guess what I did? I woke up thinking I gotta take a picture of this stupid bug because nobody knows what it is, and took a picture of it, and it's a Japanese beetle larva. I'm like, there you go. I mean, I couldn't stop thinking about, I finally have something that can help me out. And I'm like, It's just it's not multimodal, but it's again, the hardest part anybody's going to have right now is training our brains on how to use a multimodal. And I think that's the hard part, is stop using the screwdriver you've used. Now there's a whole different whatever tool. And going back to the multimodal, Gemini is going to be built from the ground up with multimodal. GPT-5, as you probably heard, supposedly, rumors are that's also from the ground up going to be multimodal. Now, what does that mean? It's like everybody was saying earlier. It's like you take your GPT-4 and you give it multimodal capability. That's not the same thing. They're kind of band-aiding it together. But once you start getting it to where it's built that way, they'll behave better, behave faster, and I think that's the real value. The qualities.
Yeah, I agree. I think it ultimately, I think this is going to require a change in how we think and use computers. We're so used to the keyboard and the mouse model that we've been doing for 20 or 30 years or whatever, that it's going to take some time before we get. And I can guarantee you, I've seen it happen already just with ChatGPT text, but I guarantee you, people are going to come up with amazing ideas that we never even thought of. You know, and so I'm really excited to see where that comes out. Stacy made a comment. She said as of last night she doesn't have it yet, but she's also not found pi to be fluid or consistent either. It drops and doesn't give her what it promises, leaves me hanging. Now, I can't get pi on the phone with the voice. It's not an option for me in Australia for some reason, but I know some of you guys have used it. But yeah, I'm definitely finding with ChatGPT, it's still, I don't know whether I need to adapt to doing something different or what, but it's still not quite where I would hope it to be. So.
Gotcha. I mean, that's kind of what we've seen across all of AI, right? That's why we have that joke of like, oh, if it doesn't do what you think it needs to, wait a couple weeks. You know.
Yeah.
Everything's
evolving. It's like Midjourney. When I first got onto Midjourney in the beginning of the year, I mean, do me a picture of X. Okay, big deal. I think it's ultimately playing with the tool and experimenting and just letting your mind, drop all barriers and just say, well, I'm just going to try some crazy shit. Excuse the French. And just see what happens. And I think that's certainly for me is how I've got better with using something like Midjourney. It's just experimenting a lot, and I think we're going to have to probably do the same in this case.
So one of the use cases that I think many business people will be able to relate to I learned from Nicole Leffer, who was an alpha tester of vision and gave a series of workshops. And she uses it in her deck. So she takes a picture of the slide and says, and asks for suggestions, right? What would make this slide better, right? So it's a way to like interact, because then it's like, oh, okay, well, this picture would be better, right? So then it gets, then she gets suggestions on what she should prompt the image generator to do. And we all know that image generation is coming. It's already kind of in Google Slides, meaning that it generates images, but they're pretty, they're fine. They're fine, which is different than being like, wow. But if you don't want to leave Google Slides, you can do that. But like those kinds of things, like your font is too small, or you have too many words. This is how I would reword it, right? Like there are so many possibilities in this.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say that, Beth, because literally just before I came on here, I've been experimenting with, I wanted to take a live video recording of myself talking, and I wanted to transcribe it and throw it into ChatGPT and see what I could do with it. Can you rewrite it and make it, shrink it from 4 minutes to 1 minute, maybe reword it? But I've been playing with it for about an hour, and the thing that gave me the best result was review my transcript and tell me what's wrong with it. Where could it be improved? Let's see if I can read the words. But like the end result it came back with was like, oh, wow, that's actually, if you look at all of the different things that happened, that was probably the one that gave me the best end result. So that's really interesting to think about. That is not necessarily what's wrong, but what's missing or how could I improve it. So, I think that's certainly an interesting option to look at for this kind of tool.
Well, do you think so? Think about like other businesses and their use, because what I've been doing is going into ChatGPT and asking, hey, for this sector, what would image to text, multimodal, like what are some use cases, right? So imagine all those, like for, I don't know, in Calgary, we have like oil and gas. So some of the things that they're talking about is like aerial or satellite shots of exploration sites or whatnot. What are the issues related to them? Where are the flaws? Like where's the best outline for, putting whatever you're putting into, and then also convert charts and metrics into dashboards for, your audiences. So like, I think it's industry by industry will have to think about new ways, which I feel each industry would have to actually think about. Like, oh, what can we actually think about this? Not just taking pictures and describing, but actually bringing it into their workflow. And I don't know. I think that leads back to how many people actually know that this exists. And then of those people who know that exists, think beyond just taking like, you know, taking a picture of their plants and flowers. Then of those people, how like it's such a small percentage, yet everybody has it, or a lot of people who have Plus has it. So like, how do we enable or teach people that to go beyond? And does that mean like decades? Does that mean like a couple of years that people have to think about how to use this stuff in a way that goes beyond like?
I think it's like anything, I guess. I think that you're going to start seeing as people experiment and get better with. I mean, one of the things I love doing is going, if I'm trying to figure something out, go to YouTube and find a video that shows you. For example, when I was playing with Midjourney in the early days, watching videos on how to get more out of Midjourney, and there was some really good videos there. And I think people are going to start producing that kind of content for the multimodal capabilities of ChatGPT. And then once it gets out into the market, it's going to become more people will experiment with it. And I don't think it's going to take more than 6 months to a year, maybe, before it's pretty commonplace for people to start using it.
I want to share a use case that just came across my desk. So I've been a little bit disengaged because I'm in the middle of it. But so my boss, you know, he likes sending videos of ideas he has, you know, so he's just kind of brainstorming. He records himself in a video. I watched it at 2 times speed and get the gist of what he's trying to say. It's easier than reading an email, right? Well, this time he did that, and also he sketched out what he was thinking on his iPad. So luckily, I have access to the multimodal aspects of image recognition. So I took the transcript from the Dropbox capture. I also took the image that he sent of this little pencil drawing he did on an iPad. You know, he even had the logos of where ChatGPT would be engaged. It's like a thought problem solving tool, right? That he designed. And I said, explain what the heck he's talking about. No, I basically said, take the transcript, take the image, and kind of evaluate it. I didn't give it any more context than just that. And it basically put the two together. And it gave me this really lovely output that kind of explains, oh, this is a great tool, fascinating idea. And it summarized his whole idea. And then some considerations like, oh, be careful about this, and, you know, over reliance on AI and the cost and licensing, whatever. And then I wanted to say, well, describe how you'd implement this tool. So all that to say, just another example of bringing it to the conversation and using the different tools at the disposal. So looking at a visual representation of what he's talking about. So, I mean, most of what we've been doing is analyzing a transcript, but now we're able to ask the ChatGPT to take them both into consideration. And that's by, who is it that said it recently? By bringing the AI into our world, making vision possible, it's just a whole other layer of analysis that we've. I can't fathom it really.
I want to provide a use case quickly that uses video. And we don't know yet how effectively ChatGPT 4 will accommodate video and how long a video it can digest and so on. But right now, it seems like it's really focused just on still images. But eventually, we'll have video as a multimodal option as well. Mm-hmm. So I'll give you this use case. So we have horses. My daughter is an equestrian hunter jumper, and you know, the horses are here on our property, and we'll go out one morning and my daughter will say, hey, you know, Blueberry's lame. And I say, okay, well, show me. And you know, he walks, trots, does all these things. And I'm like, it looks fine to me. I can't see in his gait the lameness that she can see from her expertise and experience in seeing his biomechanical movements over and over. Well, AI is a perfect tool for this. And if you could take a series of images and you know, postural images and also videos of your horse, for example, and feed them. Now, this is, you know, ChatGPT is missing memory. Like, I'd have to feed it to a database and then include all of those images as here's good gait and here's bad gait when I do the runtime prompt. But eventually we'll have memory like that, and you'll be able to feed whatever platform you're connected to, whether it's Google or OpenAI, etc. you'll be able to feed that with a history of images, and then you can ask it to look at a new image in that context. So that's the horse example. But now imagine it for gait analysis for the people who are getting older, like me. And, hey, I've got a hitch in my giddy up now. I want to be able to see that and identify it when it's very, very subtle.
Or sports science.
Can do that.
Looking at runners and how improve the running gait of athletes. That's definitely a science already. But having AI help, that could make opportunities for small businesses. You could have a small studio with just a treadmill and have a camera with AI attached.
Yep.
You don't need to be an expert. You can actually make that a franchise, if I were being so bold, and basically constantly helping athletes with their gait. I don't know.
It's definitely democratizing that what used to be very, very high end, prescribed AI implementation. Now a large language model can accommodate all of that.
I saw something online, I think it was today or yesterday, I don't remember where, but it was the golf industry. I think maybe it's something to do with the PGA, where they're actually analyzing the entire game of the golfer, and they're using AI to critique and provide advice on how to improve the subtle little 1%ers that make the difference, which I thought was really interesting. I don't play golf, but and I look at, like Carl and I both in the marketing space, so we're used to looking at, ad campaign and analytics. So you put those numbers in front of the average non-marketer and they'll just go, whoa, number overload. We can look at it and we can see patterns in the data, so to speak. Well, AI is going to be able to do that for a lot of things, which is, I think, is going to be a really, really interesting option.
Okay, so this is a perfect opportunity to go to the TLDR. So what is the one final thought or the one application or use case for our audience, our business focused audience? Go.
For me, it's like the only way to get better at this stuff is to play with it. At the end of the day, there is no instruction manual really, so you just have to start using it and figure it out.
Beth?
That's it. Everybody's.
So I would say that this is the beginning of access to super performing, like heightening human ability in a consumer space, right? Like this is your microscopic expert scientist friend, right? Like this is your search and rescue satellite. We can do a ton of imaging around stuff and then pinpoint areas that look anomalous. We've had speed and like depth of knowledge as sort of superhuman, but this is literally beyond what human eyeballs could take in and make sense of. I think it's exciting.
So my TLDR or recommendation is think in sci-fi terms, because you got to think in a way that technology right now can't make happen, because you need to train your brain to look ahead at what the technology is going to be able to do, because by the time you find the right problem that needs solving, the technology is going to be ready for deployment, and you'll be the first to do it. So I'm trying to challenge everybody, jump ahead, think of how to solve this problem way before the technology in your head, the technology is there to make it happen, because it's moving so fast that's going to be there before you know it. So start training your brain now to, again, I'm reiterating myself, but it's like, it's so crucial that you think in sci-fi terms, like, oh, there's no way this can happen, but like, what if we could do this? Think in what ifs. What if we could do this? Because it's coming, it's here,
Right.
So my TLDR would be, if you're a business, go to whatever numbers dashboard you have. Could be an Excel, could be something simple as Excel, or as complex as Power BI. Doesn't matter. Take a picture of it, then ask, if you have this, ask, give me their top 10 insights and give me 10 actionable things I can do based on the insights. And you'll be very surprised what it'll come up with just based on maybe your, last week's data. So that would be my TLDR to try.
Yeah, that's
Mine's related. I think that we've always, or recently, we've had the ability with advanced data analysis to upload a file, but it has limited range of file types that you can have. And by the way, PDFs being read, that's a major advance beyond, translating that and now putting it in some other form like a Word document or whatever. That's a problem for everybody. Well, now, instead of being limited to file upload, you can take any image and the image capabilities in the LLM will read it just as Carl explained. So it's just going to make it a whole lot easier. And you can take an image of anything. Like I have this program called Excalidraw, which lets you kind of lay out an information flow diagram, but it doesn't have a file type that would be included in advanced data analysis. So a picture of it, though, is understood by the LLM. Wow, that really shortcuts the whole process.
Yeah.
Gotcha. For me, I will just say, one, Robert, I really like your forward-thinking idea there. I think that's going to be huge for businesses in the long term. Carl, I think that inflection point you were talking about getting everybody to use it, is when it is built into the apps that everybody uses every day. Take, for example, when you take a selfie, or your mobile phone, if it's just built into your camera. I think the most exciting part I've seen examples of is product development. I probably said this before, using vision to take a picture of your wireframes, and then you ask chat to help you build out the code, and you can build an app in 20 minutes. That sounds awesome to me. So that's pretty much all I got. Aaron.
Yeah, so just quickly before we sign off, for those of you who don't know if you have Vision yet, it's only in basically when you look at the ChatGPT entry window, it should have a little icon of like an image in the corner. I think it's in the left corner. I don't have it yet, so I can't tell you that. And as far as the voice goes on the phone, on my phone, which is an Android, it is a set of headphones in the top right corner of the app. So I tap that to turn the voice aspect on. No idea what the Apple people will use. So for tomorrow, that's it for today. For tomorrow, come back again. We're going to be talking about optimizing operations with AI for supply chains. So that's going to be an interesting topic. I don't know much about it, but I'm pretty sure Andy's going to tell us lots because he's the guru in that space. And if you want Andy, you've got to go research. Anyway, nice to speak to you guys. Have a great day. Catch you tomorrow.